All right, I believe we are live now here, folks. Do apologize for the late start. I understand everyone gets excited. We just ended the Lofty. You are now here for BoldTrail. My name is Brett Kay, and I'm a senior product trainer, and it's my pleasure to be here. I'm going to be with you, looks like for the next month on Mondays and Wednesdays, folks, so I'll appreciate your patience with me. Just to get a few things out of the way, KV Core, BoldTrail. BoldTrail was an evolution, is an evolution from KV Core. All of you should be on KV Core now, okay? If you haven't, log out, clear history, and log back in, and you will be. But I'm pretty sure everybody is. Folks, what this is not is a line-by-line comparison of why you should use one of these platforms over the other. We're going to focus on how we can elevate your business with the BoldTrail platform. There is another session. Check out your calendar for the exact date that says the topic being, why should you choose BoldTrail? We're doing some training here today, folks. And what our focus is here today is doing CRM marketing. You know, it has a component of CRM, but let's keep in mind that this is a real estate growth platform. Okay, and we're going to explore some of the tools you have. Folks, if you're not following up with your people, then somebody else is going to. But I think it's a good point to consider that what you're sending should have some high value so that someone's going to click. Why should I click if I can Google just about anything in the world in under, 0.10 trillion seconds kind of thing? So when we think about our follow-up, leaving a voicemail, sending an email, sending a text is not enough. They didn't respond. They're not a good lead. I also want to really emphasize, folks, that just because they didn't respond initially or even 5 times after does not mean that they're not going to buy or list with you. They are interested for some reason. It's our job to nurture them and stop their search from wherever else they're looking and get them to your BoldTrail website so that we can leverage all the tools that I'm about to share with you. So look at that number. I know you've all been reading it here, but that should make me feel kind of nauseous. Why is that? If that's the case, and then people talk about bad leads. It's not a bad lead. It's just a lead that you haven't spoken with yet. So today, our focus, friends, we're focusing on a few things. And if I may also do a shout out to my colleague, Delaney, who will be helping me out with moderation in EXP World. Okay. So for questions, my thanks to her for her time and her knowledge. She's sharp. Please be nice to her. Okay. With that, let's go forward. This is what we're looking to do today. We're going to talk about behavioral alerts. It's one of my favorite tools of the platform. When we talk about right time, right message, oh, baby, behavioral alerts is where it's at. So we're going to explore that a bit. There's really not much for you to do. I want you to understand what's going on so that when you get a response to an email or a text that you actually didn't write, you know why these people are responding in a great way and an awesome way, because they're asking you about, the listing. And then we're going to talk about not just sending out emails and not just sending out texts and giving a call that says, hey, let me know if you need any real estate help. What if they don't need it today, but they need it tomorrow, but you're not in front of them tomorrow? So that's our focus. Let's start with behavioral alerts. Folks, this is a game changer, not only in the industry, especially for the BoldTrail platform. When I, as your lead, am shopping on your website for whatever reason you gave me to go there, be it how much is my home worth, can you give me a summary report of San Diego, a particular area, when they do a specific behavior that we alert you, I just saved a property as a favorite, and then engage the lead. You looks like you were interested in 123 Main Street. How can I help? The first 5 minutes is critical, folks, of initial outreach. Stats I've read suggest that you're 100 times more likely in the first 5 minutes than you are just a half hour later. So that thought of, well, I'm eating lunch, I'll call them back when I'm done. You might know is that lead even hot anymore? Doesn't guarantee they're going to even look to buy or list with you right now. This is why we nurture. This is why we follow up. This is why we keep following up. Think about how many emails you get. Sorry about that. In any given day, you know, it can become a job unto itself. So let's see if we can minimize that. Behavior alerts, right time, right message. You have control over this. You can turn them off. Want to be clear on what they're not. You can edit them. They are not part of smart campaigns. Those are email, text, task, call, and text campaigns. All right, they have all these things for you to do, things that go out to your leads. They've been well thought out, thoroughly vetted, hundreds of thousands of times. Can you change them? Yes. Should you? Absolutely. I think that we should personalize those, you know, per your neighborhood, your market, your goal, your specialty. But let's out of the box, not reinvent the wheel, understand how they work, then you can go about changing them. Not based on date. You have these tools already in the platform, friends. You're my contact. I know your birthday. I can flip a toggle, and now I'll send you a birthday email and text every year. Same for home anniversaries. Okay, and you can have date-based stuff, but behavioral automations are not. You cannot create your own, but you can edit them. You can edit the ones that they have, but the ones that you'll see, that's what we have. Okay, so just there it is. We can edit them. You can turn them off. Although sitting right here, no way in the world, you're literally crippling the system. My hope is that I can convince you, if you're not already, on letting these do what they do. Okay. Where the heck are they? And folks, don't worry, this isn't all slide deck. We're going to jump live drive here in a bit. Just wanted to high level it for you. Fair? Okay, we find them in the marketing tab on the left. One of the new features that you're going to find out is I can use that Omni search. Did you see how my next screen here, we have typed in, it's back on the previous screen up top, the search bar, it's on every screen. You can search for anything. So you don't even have to remember all this stuff right over on the left. I mean, eventually you'll become very comfortable and confident about where certain things are. We're looking at the marketing tab, but if you want to drive straight there, just type in behavioral, you're going to get that link. Voila, we are here. Now, if you haven't yet, I'd mentioned there's a Why Choose BoldTrail class that we're also doing. We have about another month, folks, for you either to make a decision or to see where we move forward with other types of training for you. There's also a getting started. Okay, and we talk about some basic things, that being the concept of statuses. Now, I say the 7 you see here because I exclude archived. But as a default, your system is going to have some of these already toggled on. How do you know if they're toggled on? Because they are blue or whatever color. Sometimes there's some, but yours all should be blue. And I can turn it on or off. Now, I would encourage you not to do this. We can turn them off individually when that time is right. When is that time right? When you're talking to them. This is to get them talking to you while you're having lunch, while you're driving the kids to school, to yourself to the gym, or whatever it is that you do that, you know, you can't engage with them right at that moment. You have a system built in that will and that you have control over. Think of this as the client journey. Okay. You know, when I hit your system, you're going to import me either as a sphere of influence, people you know, friends and family, past clients, a prospect, people you don't know yet, that you hope will become a real estate opportunity. Maybe it's a name, maybe it's an email, maybe it's a phone number, maybe it's an address. We can leverage all these things. And then after that, you become my client. Then I write a contract. Then I close you. And then the process begins again. Because here at Inside Real Estate for BoldTrail, it's not looking, our how shall I put it? Our vision is not that it's just, oh, you got the listing. Oh, you got the buy sale. But what then? What after that? How about again and again and again? It's a life cycle, the home ownership process. So that's the vision that I want you to really understand. And new leads are anybody that sign up on your website. So it's pretty easy if you think about it. They either sign up on my website, they're new. I added them by import, they're a prospect. I don't know a darn thing about them. Or they're a sphere. I know things about them. And then including past clients. Okay? So you can toggle these on and off based on the status. My personal and professional opinion, I turn them all on, even archive. I want to know when someone does something on my website. I can control the next step after that. You might say, well, why in the world would you want to put them on archive? I'll tell you why. Let's say I talk to you today. I get a lead from using the awesome lead gen tools in the platform, and it comes in as a new lead. I'm either a buyer or a seller. Okay? I talk to you. You say, yeah, well, I was just, kicking some tires here. I don't think I'm going to be looking till next year. You can just take me off your list. Okay, you could archive them, and that turns off all communication, and they sit over there. Let's say something changes in 3 months. They got an inheritance or a new job, and they start looking, and yours was the most recent website they had. They would be reactivated, and you would know about it. That's something to think about. I mean, unengaged leads, when I think about them, I get people go, they're dead leads. They're not looking right now. I can't do anything with that right this moment. Well, what about when that real moment comes? Do you want it then? Be it 3 months, 6, 9, a year. Okay, I take that as good that I still have a shot at winning your business over time. We're looking at a individual contact record here, a screenshot of it. Now here over on the far right, there's a more actions button. And if you want to think about how this contact record is represented to you, over on the left is all the info stuff, right? They're a buyer. Here's the email that I have for them, their name, where they came from, when they were added to the system, if they've searched on any properties. And in the center, the timeline is absolutely everything that's ever happened. Every property clicked, email sent, text set, responded to, any changes you make, notes you make. And on the far, far right, that's all your actions. I want to make a call. I want to send an email. Well, if I click that more actions button, that's where I can turn off behavioral alerts individually. And that's going to be the recommendation. Why? Okay, you haven't been able to get in contact with this lead, but they are going to your website. You send them a link. They're getting alerts from whatever properties they're interested in. They click on one, they save it. You get notified, we reach out to them. They respond. Yeah, I am interested in this. Well, at that point, I would come to great Aunt Martha Pennybags here, and I'd turn off her alerts. Why? Because they did their job. That's an easy way to think about it. Let all the statuses ride on the client journey: sphere, prospect, new lead, active, client contract. Let's put this automation to work. Right time, right message. This is how we're going to get conversion. And keep in mind that conversion rates are about 1 to 3%. That means 1 to 3 leads that you generate out of every 100 is going to be a workable opportunity. Doesn't guarantee anything, but that's what statistics will suggest. And then it takes 6 to 19 months to actually close the deal. The more of those that you have in here is how you're going to get the deals you need a month, right? I might look the math and say, well, I want a deal a month. I need 100 leads a month. I want 2 deals. I need 200 leads. I need 3 deals. I need 300 leads a month. How are you going to get them? That's a discussion for another class on lead gen. Just know that you have the tools to do that. But these are things we need to be aware of. And just because someone says, I'm just browsing, I love to hear that now. I've heard examples of, going to Best Buy and buying a TV, or going to a mall, what are your favorite store, and you're looking at whatever, or you're at a car lot, right? And I'm gonna buy, but I'm not buying today. I just want to check out the colors and the interior and literally kick the tires, although I don't see what that would do except tell you that the tire's flat. Anyway. But depending on how you follow up with that person when they are ready, they say no, you come back, different salesperson next time, they're going to get the deal. Even if they loved you and you're brilliant and they wanted to buy from you. So here are our 6 key behaviors that you're going to be notified of. So note that, whoops. If I turn off the send agent alert, here's a little pro side tip. That doesn't do anything for the alert not going out. It just means we won't alert you. Because remember, you have at least 2 mobile apps, right? You have your agent app, comes with the platform, and you have our open house app. As long as I have, that mobile app, we're going to go boom. Hey, they just, revisited after 14 days, came back 5 times in the last week. These are key indicators of people that are seriously looking at properties. Okay. You can preview what it says. You can edit what it says. You will get an email, regardless of if you have the app or not. And we're letting you know. So when you see one of these, you're like, what in the world is this? Let's keep in mind, every one of you has access to, and it's included with for you to use at no additional charge, what's called an Office Smart Number. And this contacts you when something like this happens. It could be a call, it could be a text. Here's a screenshot of the mobile app. What it might look like. Say, hey, we just got a new behavioral alert for Laura here. And just as a key tip for all of you out there, little sidebar. If you were on kvCORE and now you're on BoldTrail, do you have to download the BoldTrail apps? Yes, you do. I'm sorry. Delete those other ones, install these, follow the directions right from the platform. It's super easy to do. That's the only thing. Okay, that's the only thing. Everything else should 100% be the same. Is that fair? Except it's faster, more intuitive, and looks cooler. Although I like kvCORE, just saying. Okay, so I can note this from the timeline, which would be visible to me right from my laptop version or from my mobile app, and you can see what was actually sent before you respond. You know what I mean? People say, well, what are you sending? I don't know if I want you to send that. These are going to be very general, focused specifically on the property and putting you in front of them at that time. If they don't respond, they don't respond. Then we absolutely move forward with some of the other CRM marketing tools we're going to discuss today. Hopefully this is kind of saying, okay, we got this behavioral automation. If they're going to my website, the system alerts me what they're doing and then engages them based on that behavior. I can edit these. I can turn them off for everything, which is not recommended, and which is recommended, turn them off individually, which is what I want you to recommend to do. Just pointing out what it would look like so you know what you're seeing, because I really want you to use the app and the desktop version, right? And we're continuing. If I was to give a little, about inside real estate, I will tell you that they move quick on the technology. I couldn't believe how fast we got AI wrapped into this, and you're not going to believe the things we have on the horizon. I mean, you already have the smart assistant baked into the platform for emails, texts, and calls. We call it Smart Assistant. You already have it there. I mean, but it's just, up in the game on the tools that you have, but we need you to use them. They're not magic. I do want to encourage you there. However, in whatever CRM you use for your business, get in there every day. This is my advice to you, agent to agent, okay? Now, a cool thing, a powerful thing, a very effective way to convert leads is our behavioral automation itself. What this means is, if you'll recall, we were just looking at a record and you could be a new lead, or I could be a prospect, or I could be a client or a contract. If I had a new lead or a prospect on a campaign, a smart campaign, and they respond, you send them an email and they said, oh yeah, what about this property, or text, or you logged the call. You do have to log the call in the system. It moves them to active. And why this is important is because it drops the old campaign. Let's say it was a new lead buyer campaign. You all have that. They responded to something in that campaign. It moves them to active. And we have some stages in the client journey that are just task-based, because we know that if they said something and only you know what that is, well, now we did our job. The software did its job. Now it's time for you to do your job in the nicest professional way I could get across to you. Do you know what I mean? Because whatever they said, be it I'm just browsing, I want to buy tomorrow, and I have $1 million in my pocket, you're handling the personal communication from here on out. If you want to talk about a game changer, that's something. So now I don't have to go in, find the lead. Oh, okay, I'm going to take the old campaign off. Okay, now what kind of campaign do I want to put on them now, if any? You don't have to. So I talked through it, but let's just look at it again. So a text that comes in, and do recognize the point that I didn't have anything else coming from you, because if you were already talking to me, then that wouldn't happen, okay? Inbound email, call, in or out. But remember, and this is here a pro tip, let's say that you're understanding this now and you're thinking, well, I just called Delaney last week and spoke with her, but I didn't do it from the system. Would this still happen? No, you would have to do kind of a fake call. Pretend you did. I would log a call, said I spoke with Delaney, she wants to buy here, there, and the other, and this is what's going on, log. Then it would move into active, and then the automation would work for you. Making sense? Just letting that sink in a little bit. I mean, really what I'm outlining for you here is you don't have to do anything, but I do want you, for this part, be aware of what's happening, because I know, at least for myself, I need a little bit of comfort and confidence on what the system is sending out and when it's happening and what control I have over that. So that's really our goal here today. Okay. Now, after we take a real peek, and we are, promise, at the behavioral automation section, we're going to talk about high value content. Some examples are smart campaigns, property search alerts, area market reports. Heck, it could be a property evaluation. Maybe it's just a reach out. Well, remember, you got Smart Assistant number 1 to write it for you and then tweak it as you need based on your neighborhood expertise, experience. It's no longer enough to just say, give me a call if you have any real estate needs. Think about this. What are you offering? I found that, at least for me personally, giving something without, and this is me personally, not inside real estate, giving something to you via email or a voicemail left, well, probably would not be a voicemail, but a text, and say, hey, I wanted you to know this about this area, and not even ask how long they're looking to purchase, or if they're renting or homeowning, or whatever the case may be. It's worked. And you know what else has worked? Having the wrong area, believe it or not, because I'll get people that say, well, I have this list, but I don't know where they're looking. What should I do? The number one thing you should do, the emails, smart campaigns, great, they're fine. Yes, you should use them. But more important is your website. More important is that they're searching on your website. More important is that, from the mobile app, they're searching on your website, right? So every communication attempt should include some reason that I should go to your website. I mean, one that right off the top of my head, folks, your website, your BoldTrail website is safe. It's private. Information's not sold or shared with anybody. We know that the big real estate search websites can't do that. That's how they're in business, is to sell leads to people. I don't know. This is something that's always seemed very important and to communicate to my clients as well. Okay, so these are just some ideas of what we can do. You're like, well, what do I send? You can always say, hey, how's everything going? Wanted to wish everyone happy 4th of July. Folks, you have templates for that. We have that all built in. Okay, you can mass email your entire database at once. Okay, we got drip campaigns based on every stage of the client journey, which you can edit yourself should you want to. Market reports are an area summary, and we have even deeper area we cover pages that have neat information like the most expensive property, the least expensive property, the most popular property based on clicks. Templates, you can even customize your website, folks. I've done some things like, maybe you want to showcase a particular neighborhood that you work in your area, but you don't find a way to do that. You can create your own tab, and it's super actually easy to do, just to let you know without having to write code. I mentioned the birthday and home anniversary texts and emails. No brainer when you close one of your people. Let's put this system to work so I don't have to think about when your birthday is. So hopefully that's a good overview. You're like, whew. Well, the good news is here, what I'd like to do is get in here, okay? Take a look. I'm going to give it a sec, because I know what it's like to be on the other side of a software, training. Try to make it as interesting as you can. But I'm looking at the main dashboard. I just logged in. Here's what it looks like. By the way, if you didn't yet, I don't even know if I should mention this, but I'm going to. There is a new login now to access this through your Okta. You know how you get through your EXP Enterprise that gives you access to all the stuff they offer you? That's how you're going to be doing it. It was in your workplace group. Keep an eye out for it. Okay, so I'm looking for looking around. Actually, is what I want to do. I just want you to see what you see. If you hadn't yet, in the far upper right, you download the mobile app. Follow the instructions right there. Upper top left, this is my Omni search. I can search for pretty much anything in the system. Last name, first name, email address, MLS ID, property address, any aspect of the platform itself. Marketing. I want behavioral automation. To start typing in behavioral automation, you do have to spell correctly. But make sense? Easy way to navigate here. So you can go on the left if you want to. Remember that our activity stream here, I do always like to remind you, talk about daily to-do best practices. This is number one. This is the most recent activity on my website. And if yours says 12 days ago, it's time to reach out to your people, because it could have said 1 minute ago that I just viewed this listing. What did you do? Remember, your MLS is baked into the platform, so I could click on this listing right now and go straight there to check it out. I can email, call, or text right from my laptop using that fancy smart number. Okay, let's take a peek at behavioral automation. So up top, BE. Let's start typing that. There it is, behavioral automation. That's the quickest way there. So what you're going to see, like we looked on those screenshots here, over here on the left, these are the only statuses that exist in the system. Think of this as the way that everything is connected through. Smart campaigns, we got it for client, we got it for contract, we got it for prospect. We have behavioral automation for the same. Now, if you're not familiar with the concept of hashtags here in this platform, you can call a lead whatever you want and filter and search and run automations on that as well. So don't feel like you don't have control if you're like, well, that doesn't quite fit the bill. They're a sphere, they're a past client, but maybe they're more than that. Maybe they're also my friend or a professional colleague. I can hashtag them anything I want on top of that. Down below, as I mentioned, if I toggled off the alert, you just wouldn't get it. The action would still occur unless we turn it off individually. You want to see what it says? I would say that I think the biggest one, in my opinion, would be I favorited a property. I like it. So if I wanted to preview the email or the text, I could do so. Your favorite pulls in the listing address. So when you see these squiggly parentheses, these are called HTML merge tags. So it's going to be pulling the address from the property that they just saved. And it will pull their first name. And it references the address again. You see what I mean? Now, if you wanted to edit this, you could. I'm suggesting you don't until you feel comfortable in how it works. Do they get an email and a text? No, they do not. Text will take priority. If they don't have a phone, then we'll send them an email. They'll never get more than one of these per 72 hours. I think there was 48. No, it's 72 hours, 3 days. You'll see everything they did on the lead's timeline, but we're not going to be throwing them out all these messages all the time. Does that make sense? So these will be at least 3 days in between, and you will be aware of it and being notified that hopefully you reached out and probably turned them off already. And then finally, that behavioral automation. When a new lead or prospect responds, move it to active status. It's moving it, and if you've hopefully seeing the value in the automation that I put a campaign on for every single lead that I have in my system, or some way, something, that we move it to active, because that means when I jump to my contacts, I can filter for everybody that's active. Think about that. Okay, one click, active. Show me everybody that's active in my system right now. All these people have responded to me in some way. Now, to be fair, Not always going to be good. It might be, who knows? Like, who is this? And there's easy ways for them to unsubscribe if they want. Not that I want to mention that, but you're not going to have to manually go in on text 100%. Search alerts, same, right? But if I'm looking at some old lead over here, I will see that communication. And at this point, the workflow would be, okay, I know enough now. I don't need that behavioral automation anymore to start cruising. It did its job. So I would come over to those more actions on the far right, and I'd turn off alerts for this fella or this lady and manage it from there. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. So, excuse me. Behavioral automation, game changer. And again, this isn't the company, this is me, turn all these on. I mean, sometimes something could get weird. Maybe you have someone in contract and all of a sudden they're clicking around. I don't know. I just want to know. But your call. The default does not include client, closed, or contract. It would just be active, new lead, prospect, and sphere, I believe. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. As you can see, your job, the hardest part, is getting them to your website. That's what every communication attempt should have a reason to do. And then we can take advantage of all these automation tools. So let's look at then, what do you have after that? Okay, behavioral automation, great. I'm sending to my website. What other type of CRM marketing do I have available to me? Because I hear it often, and I try not to take offense, and I don't think I do, just saying it's not just a CRM, It's so much more than that. Yeah, it has a CRM. It has a lot of stuff. It's built to run your entire business. Sorry, I'll get off my high horse here. Not high horse, but my passionate horse of how effective this can be if you actually do something every day to drive, even if it's one email forward, something like that, okay? So actually, I'm going to back up to the context. I'm going to give you a little pro tip here. Because we're focused on three primary drivers of nurturing automation. Smart campaigns, drips, emails, texts, area market reports. San Diego had 10,000 listings in the past 30 days. And property search alerts, which are, I think, the most powerful, in my opinion. That's what we ultimately want. I want you searching on my website, not on Zillow, not on Redfin. None of that does us any good. Well, it may if you're buying leads from them, I suppose, but why not? Let's get them here. I can send a mass email. Hey, everyone, my website is safe, private, has true integration with your MLS, right? Back on the leads record. So now I'm looking at a contact. Over on the far right, I'm going to remember those are all our actions that I have. Set appointments, make a call, send an email, market reports, campaigns, alerts. But if I go back to the main contact section, I just flip tabs. And if I was to type, show me my contacts, you're going to see that's how I got there. So you can do it that way, or just come on the upper left, second choice down, contacts. Here they are. Here's all my people. Let's clear out my filter. Folks, you can save filters, which I've started using as my daily to-dos. Okay, follow up with all your active leads. I can create a quick active leads filter. It can be anything in the world you want. You have no limit. But down here below, if I scroll on down on my left filter, which, by the way, if you don't see it, it might be collapsed. Just hit that little arrow in the upper left. Y'all got me? Scroll down to the bottom, please. Look for behavior. Behavior. My pro tip for you today would be create 3 filters. 1 with show me all my people that don't have property search alerts. 2, everybody that doesn't have a smart campaign. And 3, everybody that doesn't have a report. So if I click on behavior, take a peek up here up top, alerts. Show me everybody that does or everybody that does not have search alerts. I can view those results, and I would do one at a time. Let's see how many I have. 858 people. That means that 858 people are not going to my website for property search information. What do? Well, that's the thing. You know, I could create a search alert for up to 250 per page if it was one search alert, meaning they're all looking in San Diego or they all were looking in Carlsbad. What if I don't even know where they're looking? You know, my strategy would be a kind of a mass email out, you know, sharing, hey, if you want up to the date property information, go from there. Just an idea. And remember, let's just say right now, I'm like, I don't know what to write to these people. I don't know. How about I select this whole group, I select email, and I go to Smart Assistant up far right. I just selected email, selected however many people, and then I could send a welcome email message, a check-in, promote a listing, or write a custom prompt. So if I was to send a welcome, let's just see what it says. You know, so that would be a quick way. I guarantee you that it has a link to your website. If it doesn't, it sure should. My first name, there it is, your company name, buy or sell yourself. But you get the idea here. You know, I could use a template. We have another one built when you just imported your all your contacts, which, by the way, we do for you for free. We have a team to help you do that, so you don't have to worry about stressing out about that. But this imported leads default email also drops your website. You can, you know, rewrite it if you want on. But I want to get you to property search alerts. So what I would do is save that filter. This is all the people that don't have alerts, and say leads with no alerts. I could pin it to the top or not, and this will be your daily to-do. Start working through this. So let's see how to do that. If I went to Bold Journey, well, that's my lead. I hope that you all are on a bold journey. And I appreciate you being here. Is over on the right again. Oh, I see he doesn't have search alerts. Yeah, I know. I just ran a filter. He does have a campaign. Okay. And he is on a market report for San Diego. If I wanted to set him up on alert, I would literally just, it's super easy. On the far right, just click add, plus add. I won't even bore you or insult you. You can create 5 of these per contact, separate. You can CC partners or spouses. Sorry. This is just setting up an MLS search. That's all we're doing here, folks. You can even customize the subject line, which I think is pretty unique. You know, here's Brett's dream homes for the week or some such, right? You know, for the area, you just start keyword, what you're looking for, and you'll get a drop down per your MLS that you're a part of. County, city, area, neighborhoods, schools. You can be very specific, as you'd expect. I only want single families. And do note that if you don't select any listing type, it will send all. So if you don't want rentals, and yours might look a little different than mine, because that, you know, definitely is impacted by every particular MLS. Full baths, half baths, square foot, general options, show me everything just listed. It's also adult 55. Keep this in mind, that this logic here, this is notable, is and. So it needs to be just listed and adult 55, not either or. So just keep that in mind. You can come down and add as many keywords as you want. You could still, on one search, you know, most likely, if your MLS allows it, send them specific data. Me personally, I would probably build 2. I could do one that's the adult 55 and one that's just listed, or add some keywords down here, of which you can add as many as you want. I'd save it and then see how many results I have. Actually, I'll just go ahead and put one on here real quick and see how fast it goes. I'll do the entire county of San Diego. I'm only going to do single families and condos. And that's it. So I'm going to set the alert. Let's see what we have. Check this out. I wanted to bring this point to you just as a professional courtesy and pro tip. This is not appropriate in my opinion. I'm not going to send somebody 10,000 results. No one's going to look at, is that 10,000? Yeah, 10,000 results. Me, I would, you know, pick your price point. Maybe it's a location in San Diego. San Diego's big. You know what I mean? I get why it's like that. But always review it would be my advice. Don't just assume. Okay. Then I could go ahead and, you know, email them to you, copy the link. I could text it to you. You know, and look at this workflow. Let's say you're right here and don't want to leave, but if I wanted to send it to someone else, I mean, I could just go back to the timeline, then just go to the, it looks like I unsubscribed from texting, but let's say it was an email. You know, I could put in that MLS ID if I had one and would add the link, or just, you know, copy that one I just pasted, say, here's your new listing. I thought I wanted to share it with you. Let me know if you have any questions or if I need to modify it in some way. So that's number one, search alerts. So in the contacts, the easiest way, what I recommend, sorry about that, bouncing all over, is that we come down, create a filter under behavior. You start with no search alerts, you save it, and then you come down and do it again, and you say, show me no reports. And I'm sure there's some of you out here that maybe aren't familiar with this system yet. Maybe you're on the fence deciding what you're going to do. Either way, I'm going to tell you, hope you don't mind, market reports on your website. What it has is, if I'm looking in a particular area, we have the option for what we call a complimentary market report. And we also use this actually as a strategy to get new leads that we can use through landing pages or squeeze pages or text codes. So up here up top, you'll notice the complimentary market report. So if I had not yet been in your system, you know, I'm going to put in a bogus lead here, or a bogus email, which, by the way, we will let you know once we try it once. But, you know, as a trainer, I do a ton of these. You know, you consent and just check it out. Some new features that I think they're testing here. I'm consenting. By the way, you have to, or well, let me rephrase that. You can't mass text people that haven't opted in. This is an example of opting in. Okay. You can mass email as many people as you want. You can individually text anybody you want, but you can't mass text unless they've opted in or responded to one of your texts. So this is a market report, 839 homes for sale. Here's my average list, average sold. Looks about right. Some recent solds, a call back to you, you know, call to action. So that is a market report. So that's what we're doing here. Again, I'm going to have to individually do these. That's why I'm recommending to create a save filter and start working through them. Now, the good news is I can do smart campaigns per page. I can do up to 250 if you want. And I did mention, I'm not going to get into it today, but for the search alerts, here's my filter for them. I could, remember that hashtag I mentioned? Do a hashtag to add a search alert in mass, but again, it's going to have to be individual. I could do, you know, these 4 areas, Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach, and La Jolla, but I'd have to give them to the all. I can't say you get these 2, you get those 2. But, and to my point earlier, my anecdote, I reached out because I didn't have their property information and I didn't know what to send. So I just picked where I was at, and they responded to tell me that was not where they were looking. They were looking over here. But guess what? I'm talking to them and it didn't matter. And I still sold them a house. So just some things to keep in mind. Market reports, search alerts, run a quick filter. These are your options. I can do it individually. I can do it in mass for some. And let's go ahead and clear it and do our last one here. I'm going to do behavior again. Where am I again? I'm in contacts. I could have typed contacts up top. I come down to behavior. This time I'm going to go for does not have a running campaign. View results. Let's see how many I have. 1,000 don't have search alerts. Here's the thing. Excuse me. I said that wrong. Smart campaigns. Smart campaign. So take a peek over here at the center. I'm going to save you all a whole heck of a lot of time for those of you ready to move forward with this platform or already are. We just need the status and type to be the same because our campaigns are based on status and type. That means that I have a new lead campaign, a new lead buyer campaign. I have a prospect buyer campaign. So that means I would need to get them all the same if I wanted to add them in mass. I see that all these aren't. So let's just go deeper. Let's say, okay, show me all my new leads over here on the left. And it does a quick sort that are also buyers that are not on a campaign. With me now? That's all you got to do. So I know all these people aren't on campaigns now. And I've sorted them so that they're in status and type. Then what? Well, I would select that group of people. You can do a max of 250 per page. I'd go to more actions up top. Lots of stuff you can do here. I could add hashtags in mass. I could give you all a task. Heck, one thing I like to share, you can use hashtags for your mobile app. I could dial by hashtag. Maybe I say today's dials, and I could, in 2 seconds, have a call list that's a predictive dialer. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about adding campaigns. So when I click on the add campaigns, you're going to see a drop down of all the available campaigns that you've actually turned on. Well, let me rephrase that or qualify that. There are some that are turned on for you, and there are some that are not in there that are available to you to check out. But the minimum that you should all have are the system default buyer and the system default seller. That's the one I want. This is a buyer, so I would just go ahead and select that and then add the campaign to all those people at once. You know, if I wanted to repeat, but this time I want to see prospects, I would, okay, show me prospects, uncheck new leads, right? I want buyer and seller, or buyer or seller, however you want it, right? And then I would repeat, select all that group, go to more actions. It's saving some time, right? Add campaign, click the drop down. Do I have a prospect campaign? I did this on purpose. I actually do. Prospect renter, homeowner. If you don't see like what I have here, that's not unusual at all. Let's go take a little sidestep. I know our time is dwindling here, but this is important, folks, because I know I get this question a lot. That's how come I know. But I'm going to go ahead and navigate on the left to marketing, or I could type up top marketing, or just go smart campaigns. And sorry about that. I don't have that in caps. Still worked though. Marketing, smart campaigns. So what I'm going to see first, check out these 3 tabs. My campaign, system, library, templates. These are the 3 sections of your smart campaign library. My campaigns is telling me literally that. Here are all your campaigns. I can see if they're turned on the far right because they're toggled on blue. If they're gray, they're not, and they're unavailable. So remember what I said for, let's say I'm looking at this lead. Remember how, I left that area, folks. For those of you who are following along, for an example, I went to a contact. And there again at the top, the sphere, the prospect, the new lead. Which ones should you turn on? All of these, including buyer and seller. So what are that, 7? You don't need a buyer or seller for close. That one's either way. But, okay, so that hopefully you say, okay, well, I need one for sphere. I need one for prospect. And actually you need 2. Sphere, homeowner, renter, prospect, buyer, seller, new lead, buyer, seller, active buyer, seller, right? So back to my smart campaigns, if I wanted to see, well, what do I have for sellers? Let's just type in seller up top and see. Oh, there's the core default seller, client seller, new lead seller. Looks like I don't have the new one added here. If you want to add one, because remember I said the system one. I mean, none of these are bad, folks. They're all good campaigns. But I would go to the system library. In this upper left, that's where everything lives. You can't edit anything from here, but you can review it and then add it to your library. See if I have this one here. See, so here's all the different types of sellers we have. Down at the bottom, I'm going to go, there it is. That's what I was looking for, the system default seller. I'm going to add it to my library. Oh, but wait, what if I want to review it first? Well, let's go ahead and click on the system default seller and see what it looks like. So this is how you kind of see the, what shall we call it, the blueprint of your smart campaign libraries. Now, this one I haven't added to my system yet, so I can't clone it or edit it. Well, I can clone it, but you don't need to. You're just going to view. Well, what happens? If you were on my website right now and you were looking at my how much is my home worth option, and you registered, meaning you went through the 1-2 click, you're going to get this hello lead first name. It's still a fantastic time to sell a home. Saw you were interested in your current home. So maybe you review this. You're like, cool. Okay, I get a call reminder on day 1. Day 1, I also send out another email. The first one was a text, and it runs for 30 days. If I haven't gotten through to this person in 30 days, we recommend to put them back to prospect and continue nurturing. So that's how I would review it. So if I wanted to add this to my library, well, I would simply add to my library right on the right. Then it tells me I was added. Then I can bounce back to my campaigns There's my seller, and there it is, the default seller. And once I come in here, if I want to click in a little deeper, now I can edit any of the stuff. Now, if you find one in here, pro tip, that you can't edit, it means you don't own it, and all you got to do is clone it. If you add it yourself, you immediately have edit privileges. If we put it in there for you, we being, the company, to make it easy, because we made sure you at least had the buyer and seller in there and a few others, but you would just clone it and just go, yes, 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 finish. And then you can edit it. So if I wanted to come in here and edit one of these, I literally would just rename it Brett's version and change my message. And you can also change the time frames of these. Meaning, let's look at day one. Here's the email that goes out. Maybe I don't want it on day one. Maybe I want it on day 7. Now, I would recommend not to get that crazy yet with these. Let's not reinvent the wheel and overthink it. These have been well thought through, as I mentioned. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't personalize this. Say it in your own way, per your market and your professionalism. Hope that helps everyone. So that's pretty much it. We did it with 3 minutes to spare. I know that was a lot. Stand by a few moments. My recommendation to you is this. And actually, let me get off the screen one more second. I want to show it to you. Let me get back to the platform. Your takeaways. Behavioral automation. Marketing. This is done for you. You have control. You can turn it off individually or for the entire category of the status. Recommended that you don't. You get notified. We engage based on behavior. You also have some nurturing tools. For example, smart campaigns, market reports, and property search alerts. So I recommended that you created a save filter. You just saved it and you start working through them one by one. And coming in here and say, well, should Brett have a campaign? If not, then what should he have? Should I just create a task, for 3 months, 2 weeks? Should maybe, and I like the market reports for like your past clients, people just browsing. You can send it to them like once a month. And you saw the data. So it's just like, hey, this is what's going on in this area, And if you haven't yet, I'd recommend that you create a testing lead and do all of this, but just don't use the email that you log in with. And if you're not sure what yours is, click in the upper right, any screen on your picture. And that third one down is the email that you log in with. So don't use that one to log in. Anything else, get a real one for sure. And same with your phone number. Don't go calling this number, folks. You don't call this number. That's not what it's designed to do. It calls you and helps you communicate and get in contact with your people. Okay, thank you for that. I hope this was helpful. At least, we focused on a few things. If you'd be so kind, it's definitely being asked of a lot of us, all of us, it should. If you could throw your phone up, pull up your camera app, and then run that QR code, we'd appreciate. We'll take any feedback you have, and we really appreciate you being here. We are on Wednesday, same time, and I think this one's getting started. So if you're looking for a little bit more of, okay, that was too much, I hope it wasn't, because it's all there for you. You just have to decide how you're going to use it. Okay, Delaney says we are good, that there's no questions that she hasn't answered, which doesn't surprise me. Folks, I want to be respectful of everyone's time here, and I'm going to end it right now. I'm going to thank you all so much for your time. Whatever you decide to do with your business, I appreciate you, stopping by and seeing what BoldTrail can do. And if you're already on with BoldTrail, then I hope that was helpful, because another thing that I'd highly, strongly encourage you is to log in every day, folks. Log in every day. Don't miss out on